questions for Shawn? I
Yeah,
have a question. Who brought the, somebody wants a recipe for, what was it called? Like the caramel thing? Huh? The toffee. Who made the toffee? Who has the recipe? Oh, Jordan McLaughlin has a recipe.
I have a question about, you talk about, you have an amazingly wonderful website full of color and excitement, but the one thing that fascinates me on there is the art rental. I would love to know how that works and if it's been successful for you.
Sure. Well, I initially just added that to my website because it was something that started to happen maybe a few years ago. Is this concept of businesses renting art, leasing it. I've had a few rentals directly. I rented a few to a law firm downtown for a while, and actually I rented some to some lofts downtown that were staging. That was a big thing, that still kind of is, but the market's kind of weird. But where they would kind of get the place ready and looking a certain way, so I did that. But, and since then I'm actually, locally I'm a consultant for this business called Art Rent and Lease. It's owned by Lisa Powell, who used to live here, but she moved to Portland, and she has different locations throughout the country where businesses will basically hire her to fill the space with art, and they can buy the work, they can lease it, they can have it changed out every 3 months or every 6 months. And her local consultant left, so I actually do that on a part-time basis for her as I'm an art consultant. And I'm also one of the artists that is on her roster, so a lot of the times they end up using my work. I just consulted, I looked at a space, Ameriprise in Arden Hills. That's right by here, yeah. Their main office is going with her company, so I went out and took photographs, and I think they're picking a few of my pieces for that. And then there's an energy company called MISO, M-I-S-O, in St. Paul, over by Gabe's, and they have a huge space, and so I consulted with that. But I added it to my website because it was another opportunity to get work out there. The few times I've rented directly, they were just rentals, but I always offer service to buy, you can kind of buy it. I usually give them half of what they paid on the rental towards the original if they want to purchase it. So, that's that. Any other questions?
Well, plug the website address so that everybody knows this is a great site.
Sure, ShawnMcNulty.com. It's SHAWN. Cards? Okay. That's my website. You can just search for abstract paintings and you'll find me in the top 10, so that's an easy way to do it too. But yeah, thanks. I do my own website. I've done it since 1998. I rank very high on the search engines. And I just recently also set up a WordPress blog. And blogging is a good way to get more hits to your site, because every blog post is a new page that people can hit your website. So if you have an art website and you're able to add a blog to it, and you can blog about anything, it doesn't have to be about art even, just having an original text out there, people are going to hit random keywords that you would have never thought and come to your site and feel like your stats, so it's pretty interesting. Well, I'll do a little bit more work up here, and then maybe I'll take some more questions. I think I'm going to add some white to here, and ultimately I think this is going to be more of a yellow color, which I don't have with me tonight. I might do a little light green down here, but then I'll have to finish this back at the studio.
Use the shoe only at the beginning or from the
Usually just at the beginning. Recently, on that dreaded purple piece, I actually used it again because I had to. When I applied the neutral on the purple, yeah, I put it back on the floor for another session, and then I brought it back up, and I just did a little bit of tweaking to it today, and it's probably not done. There's a little bit of green that got in here from the lower, which I didn't really anticipate, but I'm working with it. I kind of like it.
Do you usually leave the sides and edges black?
No, that'll be the final process. Is I actually do color. I do put paint on the sides, so they have the so the sides are painted. So I have to go back and, you know, if that's a color I mix, then in that case, I would remix the paint outside the canvas, but it would be on another canvas. So.
But there's nothing wrong to leave it black.
You can.
Yeah.
It's a personal preference.
Yeah.
I think leaving it black is okay. I don't like it when it's white. I don't like it when people leave it
Right.
white. And I mean, I went down to Kansas City last weekend, and I stopped at the Des Moines Art Center, and they have, was it a Frankenthaler? Where she had left the sides white. You know, where you see a little bit of the dripping and stuff. I don't know. I don't like it.
Well, she's nowhere anyway.
Oh,
You don't know that.
she just died, man.
Yeah, I do. Pretty famous.
Oh, is she?
Oh, of course.
That's some dirty looks.
Okay.
She was interesting, and then she would let the paint soak into unprimed canvas, which is just bizarre. I mean, it's interesting, but
Yeah.
it's
Like
so
a watercolor.
flat. There's no texture or
Yeah,
at all.
right.
Wasn't Hans Hoffman, he used palette knives a lot, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yep. He applied really thick and similar, and yeah, he would use large palette knife.
I think it was Hoffman, you said, push me, pull me.
Yeah.
Can you just make a couple of statements about it? It's been a long time since I studied abstract expressionist. I don't remember.
Well, the push-pull theory is, you know, pretty similar to what I'm doing here. It's about, really it is just pushing and pulling the paint around versus the idea of a brush stroke, where it's like, well, here it is and it's done, which is, you know, a lot like, I suppose, watercolor because it dries right away. But it did involve using palette knives, and a lot of my process, what I'm doing is putting down thick amounts of paint, pushing it one way, and then he would actually push it like this. I do that with my foot sometimes, kind of almost like kicking it, but I'm usually pulling, as you can see, rather than, you know, scraping, but it's kind of like dragging is a lot what that theory is. And then what happens is a lot of the horizontal and vertical lines, because you're using a straight edge and you're chopping, so it's hard to, you know, do a circle. I just kind of did it. has to go, though I like it. You want to cover that up? I might leave a little. That's gonna stay.
Frank? Stop now.
I like the balance between the one over to the left and one to the right.
Yeah, I might leave it. I think it's more the very edge here. I like.
Yeah. Huh?
A compromise.
Yeah, compromise, yeah. It's kind of neat, I think.
Yeah.
So Shawn, which is the top now, the white or the black, or the green?
The white, the top is the white.
Okay,
So you're seeing
so we're looking at it upside down.
you're looking at upside down.
Upside
Yep.
down and backwards.
Yep.
You're basically left-handed?
I'm actually right-handed, and I've started, I don't know why, but I've started using my left hand. I actually mouse on the computer with my left hand. I don't know why that happened. It just, I changed about 3 years ago, and I do a lot of my scraping like with my left hand, so I don't really know why that happened.
Because your preschool teacher made you use your right hand.
Maybe.
Really left hand.
I could never like write my name with my left hand though. I should probably look at this way.
Shawn, do you have something in mind when you're starting this, or do you just, you let the paint talk to you?
Yeah, I let the paint decide what it's going to be. You know, I have the same process each time, so there's a similar, you know, composition happening, and but it's very much the painting kind of tells me what to do, and it really happens when I see something with fresh eyes, where there's a part of it that's screaming at me, like this needs to be changed. But it's, yeah, I definitely allow the paint to kind of make the decisions.
Do you ever work at an angle at all? Or do diagonal strokes or no?
No, I hate diagonals. In fact, the artist I'm showing with at Rosalux in April, Tara Costello, she's really good, but she'll have bold diagonals, and I see her and I'm like, oh, it hurts me to see this. But I'm glad it's, you know, I'm glad we have a little bit of a different thing going on for our show. But if, you know, I let diagonals happen. They're subtle and they're small, and there's not many in this. Well, maybe I'd like to see this little, that's a little diagonal there. But I never intentionally put a diagonal in. If I do, it's because it somehow made it past me. Sneaky.
Do you ever think of putting calligraphy on top?
No.
It's in the category of diagonals, I think.
That's in the category of diagonals, yeah. Probably is.
Do you paint to some sort of a schedule, or is it more random?
I'd probably end up going to the studio now that I'm full-time. I can make my own hours, maybe around like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I like to paint till around 7. Back when I, out of college and started painting, I used to like to paint really late, you know, like between 11 and 2 a.m., which I'm still usually up at that time, but I tried painting at home, but it's better for me to have an external space, because otherwise I'd just be looking at it all the time.
Is it very far from your home?
I live in Hopkins, and Hopkins is great. I like Hopkins. I've had shows at the art center there. They have a nice art center, and it takes me, it's like from out there, it's $3.94 to basically all the way through. You go downtown, and it only takes me about 20 minutes if it's not rush hour. So it turns out okay. I don't mind it.
Do you do anything particular for inspiration?
Not really. I mean, like I said, I like all the abstract expressionists. I like reading about them. I like watching documentaries. I like going to see those kind of masters. There's a few contemporary artists in Minneapolis. I enjoy watching what they do. You know, with social media, I'm connected to a few similar artists throughout the country that do abstract landscapes, and we all have a different way of doing it, so I kind of like to see what they're doing too. There's an artist in Santa Fe, which is a big area for abstract, named Mark Yearwood. He does some great things. In California, there's Anne Stahl and Xenia Madison. Anne is from Ireland, and she does encaustic, which is something I have not quite done, but have thought about it. I like some aspects of it. I don't like working on board. I don't like that they're going to be really heavy and hard to ship, stuff like that, but I like the process of the wax. But for inspiration, I just like to get one done so I can start the next one.
When you're working on the top like this upside down, are you able to visually flip it?
Yeah, I can see how it's going to be, and usually they work both ways. So if it works this way, it's going to work that way, but I can also